Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Modern Work Mondays for Retail. My name is Nolan Wheeler, CEO and founder of Sync, and with us, as always, we have
Jeff Strasser. I lead the modern work, retail, and consumer goods business at Microsoft.
fantastic. So Jeff, we thought we'd talk a little bit about an acquisition today. We talk about the fact that we have an acquisition on the horizon here, Foot Locker being acquired by Dick's Sporting Goods, and the impact that that has on frontline worker tools, because I'm sure what's going on at Foot Locker is very different than what's going on at Dick's. So let's just talk about what does that look like when we have these two mammoths. I forget Foot Locker, I think over 1,000 stores, 1,400 stores, something like that. So, what does that look like in terms of, that transition?
Yeah, a lot of considerations. Actually, the first one that we tend to deal with when it comes to acquisitions of this is less about the store technology devices themselves as it is just the people systems, right? So high volume of actual, frontline employees, integrations of systems, identity, security, access, eventually down to payroll and benefits and everything. There's a tremendous amount of work, I think often underappreciated, the amount of work that goes behind bringing just the ability to communicate, bring those systems together, have them in one environment, talking, kind of breaking down the walls of two organizations so they can actually be productive. Because so many of the synergies that they intend to get from these types of acquisitions, not just, it's not just a let's go get share, but let's go improve margins through some of those synergies, is kind of dependent on bringing a lot of these systems and processes and people together.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so you're still thinking more on the HR side of things, and of course, lots of staff just inherent within the space, lots of turnover, lots of seasonal need. I'm sure, back to school and Christmas, I'm sure are banging for those folks. So yeah, interesting. And then of course, what are they using in store, more where I focus and kind of maybe a little bit where you focus as well a little bit, which is, what are they using? Are they using two-way radios? Are they using Zebra devices? Is Dick's using Zebras, but maybe, Foot Locker using Samsungs, right? And then we get into to single sign-on identity MDM. So maybe more on that part.
Yeah, and kind of to some of our recent conversations, if there's a mix of radios and devices and even other phone systems and voice systems, maybe some legacy systems, maybe some IP-based, some soft phone-based systems, how do we start bringing those together? Certainly the benefit of more modern communications being IP-based, more open protocols, those sort of things certainly helps that. But I think a lot of what we've talked about recently and starting to kind of bridge this legacy radio into kind of modern IP cloud-based communications. Some of the tools that you've developed, along with some of the tools that Azure is providing and enabling for that on the cloud side, can accelerate some of that interaction and interoperability, hopefully with a lot less time and effort, because ultimately the goal is to get on a consistent platform and set of tools, but there's a lot of cost and work to do that without disrupting the business.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Right? We're us on our side, on the Sync side, we're talking a lot about the bridge and how we bridge these devices. I mean, yeah, we would love everybody to have a fancy, Zebra or a Samsung or something. We'd love that, but it's just not reality. It's just not something that we can do. Some retailers can pull it off. The vast majority, I'm going to say that 85% of them can't. So what does that look like? So interesting comment, good idea in terms of an acquisition. What a good bridge, even if it's just a temporary bridge.
Yeah, some of the most important scenarios are how do you avoid a lost sale? So connecting those stores and those communications when it comes to inventory and things of that nature. I'm thinking for me, there's at my local mall, there's a large Dick's Sporting Goods kind of at the as an out parcel at the mall, and there's a Foot Locker store inside. Presumably, they're selling similar products. Size and style and colorways and all these things of shoes certainly makes will determine whether you sell a pair of shoes or not. And so how quickly can they provide this interoperability and intercommunication, whether it's on inventory systems or even just communication store to store? They're literally probably 100 yards away, but there could just as easily be a lost sale when one store has one and 100 yards away they don't. So the faster they can close that bridge, the faster they can capitalize on bringing the two organizations together.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, you guys have got build coming up, so perhaps there's going to be some new stuff there. I don't know. I mean, us
Always.
for sure, we're going to have some stuff coming up in terms of store-to-store comms. We've kind of mastered the inside the four walls of the box. So, the next progression of this is all, okay, how do we get box A to talk to box B? So maybe some synergies there. I actually don't even know right now.
Well, yeah, and if you think kind of even beyond the communications, the benefit of all these like low code agentic platforms is to be able to quickly interop with existing systems, inventory systems, supply chain systems, et cetera. Quickly build them, low code, and then provide access to either the system on the other side of the business or the end user or the employee on the other side of the business. So, part of the benefit of these tools is like it doesn't require a massive engineering investment to go provide that interoperability and that communication, whether it's on a rich mobile compute device or potentially via voice and interoperating with agents via voice. But that's a lot of the exciting things about these tools. It enables these scenarios to be executed on really quickly, which just realizes the value of the investment that much faster.
Yeah. Yeah, you talk about speed. I had a funny little instance in a real store earlier this week, and it was someone was bad talking radios. And I said, give me that radio because we just deployed. I said, give me that radio. I said, I bet I can tell you what aisle this is in over the radio faster than you can do it on your mobile device. And it was like, oh, no way. I'm a master of this thing, right? So it was like, okay, tell me what aisle extension cords are. And I got it probably 7 or 8 seconds faster than they got it. So just goes to show my clunky, crappy radio that I dug out of the box beat the really expensive piece of mobile compute.
Yeah, and with their hands free or
good point.
Mostly free, right, to be able to do something else or continue what they're doing or whatever the situation is. So much exciting opportunity with all these tools and I expect, as we always do in retail, we'll see more and more consolidation. And so, it enables so much faster realization of the value of those deals.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see what comes out of build. I'm also excited. We'll end it this way. I'm also excited because the next time we do this podcast, we've got a phenomenal guest. We've got Ron Thurston that's going to come on. So he's the author of Retail Pride and his new, I believe he's now best-selling author now twice with Human Pride. So Ron will be on and we'll talk to Ron about what's the implication for, Human Pride, Retail Pride when it comes to making sure we have technology empowering the frontline.
Yes. Amazing. Very excited.
Cool. All right. Well, have a great week and we'll talk to you next Monday.
Sounds great. Thanks, Nolan.
Thanks, Bob.
Bye.